There it is. Getting to bro you. Getting to bro you.
I want to get to bro you.
Such a good name.
Baby.
Baby. Ladies and gentlemen, the Brothers of Discussion back. Minus one brother. It's all right. He's here in spirit. We are here tonight with another brother from another mother. Ladies and gentlemen, our brother, Rikki Roxx, is in the house. Rikki, what's going on, man?
The Lord of Rock and Roll. Happy to be here on the Brothers of Discussion podcast. Thanks so much for having me on, guys. What a way to spend a Tuesday night, right?
Right on.
Damn right. Talk some wrestling, have some drinks.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Can't get much better.
So before we even get into it, we're going to let you plug your socials, tell everybody where they can find you, what you got going on, what you got coming up, what you got in the works.
Oh, well, we got a lot going on and a lot to talk about. First of all, you can find me real easy on Facebook and Instagram. Rikki Roxx, RIKKIROXX. Real easy. Same thing for the Instagram, although I'm more active on the Facebook. Same thing for the YouTube. There's another Rikki Roxx out there. He's like a DJ in Detroit, but it's real easy to tell the difference. Not only on my YouTube channel, you get all the classic matches from my beginning through a few years ago, but you also see all my toy review videos, Masters of the Universe, DC Comics stuff, all kinds of good stuff on that. So yeah, the YouTube, the Facebook, it's all just Rikki Roxx, RIKKIROXX. And coming up, well, we got a lot coming up show-wise. Let's see here on the old itinerary here. For my home promotion, High Ground Pro Wrestling, we got Summer Showcase coming up July 11th. Doors open 6:30. We got the Falcon's Nest. That's 403 Hudson Street, Mayfield, Pennsylvania. We got a lot going on. We got the Hawaiian Warrior Kikoa is going to be there doing a seminar from 12 to 3. That's going to be hot. You want to sign up for that, which I highly recommend. If you're in the business, you got to check this out. You know, you're going to get a 3-hour seminar with one of the greatest names on the indies, the Hawaiian Warrior Kikoa. So email highgroundceo@gmail.com, $20 a head. Register there, or you can call 272-309-0418. Same day as the show. Just come for the seminar. Stay for the show. Gabby Gilbert's going to be there. I'm going to be there. Damon Dante's going to be there. The Dude. That's going to be a hot night, July 11th. And then week after that, I'm going to be appearing for RCW Rumblemania at the Reading Fighting Phillies. That's going to be at First Energy Stadium, 1900 Center Avenue, Reading, Pennsylvania. Your ticket to the ball game gets you into the show for free. Lita is going to be there doing appearances, signing autographs, meet and greet. I'm going to be there defending the RCW American Heavyweight Championship against Cody Rose. He's a great guy, but he's never had a chance against me, and that's not going to be any different on July 17th. And then the next night, I'm going to be in Avenel, New Jersey for Wrestling and Recovery. I'm going to be taking the American Championship on the road, defending it for Wrestling and Recovery against Iron Bull Argus. That's in Avenel, New Jersey for Wrestling and Recovery, 621 East Woodbridge Avenue, Avenel, New Jersey. That's a free event, by the way. We'll go over all of this again later. But that's what I got coming up for the month of July. And yeah, in between, I'll find some time to grab a couple beers, watch a couple movies, hang out, play with my dog, hang out with the wife. You guys see that Masters of the Universe movie?
Not yet. We were going to drive-ins the other night, but I fell asleep. I couldn't make it.
We saw it twice. And
yeah, there you go. That's a lot. Right off the bat, too. Everybody out there watching, that's how you plug your shit. When you come on a show and someone says, plug your shit, that, ladies and gentlemen, how you plug your shit.
That was definitely the most prepared any of our guests have been. So
if
kudos
you
to you for that.
You know. I mean, this is where it's at. I mean, they got to know where you're at, you know, and not just the name of the event. You got to know where it's at, what time it starts. You know, is there going to be food? Are they going to have sandwiches? Is there going to be beer? Are there any topless women? These are the things you need to know. There's usually not a lot of topless women, but, you know, these are mostly family shows, but you never know. Sometimes in the parking lot, they get a little wacky.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't know, down in like Arkansas, that's still a family show.
That's true. It's valid.
Well, anything goes down there in the old age.
So I want to go ahead and get started with asking, where in the world did you get the idea to start training to become a professional wrestler, and when?
Well, like a lot of guys, it was a lifelong dream. You hear that from everybody you talk to, I'm sure. But then it's the funniest thing. I was working a regular shoot job. I was moving furniture, actually. I was working for a road driver. And then back in 2006, I was just loading the truck, and there was a sign taped to the telephone pole for National Wrestling Superstars. Can't remember the town, but I remember the main event was Demolition, Axe and Smash, and Tracy Brooks, at the time the head TNA Knockout, and they were going to be in 6-man tag action. So I'm the biggest Demolition fan there ever was, and me and my wife are both huge fans of Tracy Brooks. So I wrote down the info. As soon as I got home, I was like, you can't believe this. We hadn't been to a show in a long time, but we weren't going to miss this one. And, as a kid, I went to indie shows quite a bit, but I never grew out of wrestling, but I just stopped going to shows a lot, working all the time and what have you. So we went to this show, and we were front row, and it was amazing. National Wrestling Superstars was the name of the outfit, run by Dapper Johnny Falco. Those who know will know. And after the show, they had a little meet and greet, and there was a lot of people there. Tom Brandi was there, and at the diner, they had the whole upstairs sectioned off for the wrestlers and the fans to have a little mingle. And it was amazing. My wife and I got the only 2 open seats right next to Axe and Smash, or across from them, I should say. So we spent all night with Barry Darso and Bill Eadie sitting across from my wife and I, with Tom Brandi and Tracy Brooks and Rikki Roxx, Roxy Laveau. They were off to the side right over there at the next table over. And all night we're just eating and drinking and telling stories, and it was fantastic. And I was just a fan, but they really made me feel like I was, belonged. That was an amazing feeling. So long story short, we started going to every show that came anywhere close to us, and we were always front row making all the noise. And then one night we were helping Balls Mahoney carry his bags to his car. Rest in peace. It was at his funeral. He passed away. His wife, Gail, and his son, Chris, they're real close to my wife and I. We've been tight with them forever, and this is kind of why. So we're helping John carry his bags to his car, and he just starts shooting the shit with me. He's like, you ever think about getting in, brother? And it was like, well, yeah, we all think about it. And he's like, oh, let me start up a wrestling school soon, man. Email. Here's the email if you want to know more about it. Okay, I got to go. And so didn't know when he was going to come around again. So I shot a message through the email address he gave me, which turned out to be the NWS address. And I just asked about, when's Balls going to be opening up this wrestling school, supposedly. And I think it was Kenny Edwards, the head ref, who ran the website and the email. And he said, well, if Balls ever opens a school, we'll be the first to know, but it probably isn't going to happen. He talks about it a lot. But if you're interested in coming down and learning a few things, we're going to be here on Saturday. Come down at noon, and we'll see what you can do, if anything, and, stick around, And so we get there, and actually the funniest part was, first, I had the phone call the day before. Yeah, that's right. The promoter called me on Friday after work to make sure I was still coming. And he's like, so you want to get in the wrestling business? I'm like, yeah. He's like, what are you, a fucking idiot? What are you, fucking retarded? That's Dapper. What are you, fucking retarded? You want to be a fucking wrestler? You got to have brain damage, my boy. Brain damage. And, he made sure I knew there was no money in it, and that I shouldn't do it for any reason other than the love, because, he said, here's the problem. It's like, there's nothing that kills a fan quicker than getting them into the business. The business is going to take every bit of love you have for professional wrestling and just squeeze it all out until there's nothing left. So you got to be ready to hate pro wrestling, because that's what's going to happen. And it says, well, I'd rather know than not know. I always want to give it a shot. And this way, if I'm no good, I'll know I'm no good. You don't owe me anything. So if I'm no good, I'll come back. But if I'm good, then I'll keep coming back. So I go there the next day, Saturday at noon. I says, I'm looking for Joe Panzerino, was Dapper's real name. I was like, you're the fucking guy on the phone. Oh, Jesus Christ. Because he knew me every week. He forgot who I was, right? It's like, you're the fucking guy. Okay. So they put me in the ring, JD Smoothie, and was the guy who owned the ring, and he had me take a couple bumps. And I had never done it before except like on my bed, watching videotapes at home when as a little kid. You just do what you see on TV. And so took to it pretty quick. Not to, jerk myself off or nothing, but, immediately Smoothie looks up at Dapper and Gino Moore, God rest him. He was the other guy who ran NWS. He's like, Gino, you see these bumps? And he was counting money or something. He's like, yeah, good. And that's how it really started. So for the next year, showed up on every show, set up the ring. They give you the security shirt. You stand next to the ring. You watch the guys work. And then before the shows, you bump around. You learn the basics. They would have guys like Marty Jannetty, Sabu. They'd come in and do seminars. They were kind of mandatory, which they should be when you're breaking in. That's a quick way to learn stuff. So, yeah, I got to know the ins and outs pretty quick. Trained for about a year and change before I had my first match, August 6, 2010. It was on a WSU show, which you can find on DVD. We had Mickey James that night. We had Awesome Kong, Mercedes Martinez. Yeah, they rented the ring from Smoothie. So as a little bonus, they put a 6-man tag for the guys on there for the women's show. They put the 6 guys on there just to chuckle fuck around. But it was a good match, especially for my first match being green as shit. Joey Janela pinned me. So it was a fun night. The Rikki Roxx character, the name was really just you got to come up with something for yourself, or they're going to come up with something, right? So I just wrote a bunch of stuff down on a piece of paper, and I told Dapper, "You're the one who's going to be announcing it every night, so and you're the one paying me, so figure something out." So originally it was the retro rocker Rikki Roxx because he liked all the R's. And he says at the diner, next week he's going to have his first match. He's going to be retro rocker Rikki Roxx. And Janela's like, that name fucking sucks. That's fucking garbage. He sounds like a Flintstones character. That's Joey for you, right? And Dapper's like, well, I'm the one who's going to be fucking saying it, so shut your fucking mouth. So first it was Rikki Roxx, then it was Ricky Rose, and then they kept going back and forth for a while before they settled on Rikki Roxx, which is good because there's another Rick Rose out there on the up and coming now, and he's awesome. So I don't want to step on his toes.
Well, I do love the idea, the retro rocker. Even if just leave it out of the name, just the idea of the retro rocker.
Yeah,
Rikki Roxx. It works because I think the young people today are actually starting to get back into like retro rock music and stuff too. So like my son's 13 years old, and he'll come over and he'll be like, "Hey, have you ever heard this?" And he's playing, like Poison, or something that I'm like, "Yeah, this is the stuff that I grew up listening to." And he's like, "Yeah, you ever hear this? This is cool." And like, it's interesting.
It all comes back around, and whether it's music, entertainment, or wrestling. I've always said Rikki Roxx is about bringing the old school to the new school. That's what it's all about, right? From the persona, and which, like anybody else with a good persona, is just you dialed up to 20. And then the way I work, because I'm not really the classic cruiserweight mold as some guys are, like Joey. I'll never let go of any opportunity to remind everybody that I pinned him clean as a sheet in my first singles match. 1, 2, 3. He went for the sharpshooter, small package. 1, 2, 3. Was supposed to get a shot at his cruiserweight title for that, but then he lost it the next night. So I think that was a setup, so he wouldn't have to face me again. That's what I think. But nah, he was gracious.
Sounds like he was scared.
He was gracious enough to give me that rub, and so guys like him, they can do all the cruiserweight stuff and the high flying and the flips and all that. And me, I just would rather keep my feet on the ground and punch a guy in the face. It's a lot of Memphis, a lot of old school stuff you see from Savage, Piper, Hogan, Jeff Jarrett. Mix it all up, and that's pretty much how I work, I could have a great match with anybody because I'm not dependent on being able to do, a flip and cutter or a destroyer, anything like that. I don't got to do any of that. I play the hits. You know what I'm saying? I go out there with the Kerry Von Erich tornado punch. Or the the Stinger Splash Bulldog, the classics. You got to play the hits, right? And they still work. My first match, how we started was the old Lawler spot, Memphis. Lock up, heel pushes back to the corner, give him the big hip toss, and then you break. Crowd boos. Lock up, you push him back to the other corner, you give him the arm drag. Oh, I'm the shit. You lock up again, you give the face the slam, you turn around. I'm the guy, I'm the best there is. You don't see the guy get up behind you. You turn around, and there he is. The good guy is standing there, and he gives you a big hip toss, a big arm drag, a big scoop slam. And then, the crowd is already right here. I've never not gotten an amazing reaction with that spot. I've done it 5 million times, and that spot's older than me. So when people say that, wrestling's changed, times have changed, the old stuff doesn't work anymore, I think that's complete bullshit because I play the hits all the time and I still get a reaction. I've never done a single backflip in a match, but
it is bullshit. It's the crowd. Depending on your crowd, if you're going to a lucha show, that may not work the way it does in a regular indie show.
Sure.
So that's the thing, and there's nothing against that style. I just can't, I just can't do it. My first couple of years after breaking in, they had me paired up with Tarzan Duran. At the time, he was the Jersey Kid. I pretty much cribbed a lot of his look. He looked totally different back then. And we were the 80s rockers, that was everybody who booked us. They were like, well, we want the new Rock and Roll Express kind of deal, But he's more of a singles. He was never really thrilled doing tag teams, which is fine. And he was so much more experienced than me that he had to kind of slow himself down a little bit, which annoyed him. I knew that right off the bat, but I liked the team because he could come in and do all the flashy jazz, and I could come in and do the old school grounded stuff and the character work. And because we had that little bit of clash of styles as a team, we were able to get over anywhere against anybody because we could just be adaptable. Who's going to work more at a match? Well, who's the crowd going to be more into on this night? And I tell you, perfect example what you were just saying. We were down in North Carolina. I'm still undefeated in the Carolinas, by the way, going on 15 years.
So am
undefeated. Yeah. As long as I never go back, I'm straight. But yeah, we were down there and we were like the 4th match, I think, right after intermission, 4th or 5th match. And the crowd was so quiet for the first couple matches that we thought something was wrong. It wasn't a big crowd anyway. It was a hotel ballroom. It was a nice little crowd. And we're hearing the chops, right? We're hearing the chops, boom, boom, but we're not hearing the oh. And it was like they come back black and blue and chipped up. And it's like, something, I don't know, man. The crowd ain't with it tonight. They're beating the shit out of each other, but the crowd's just like, man, our music hits. We just come out. All we do is primp the hair and we're over. They made noise for the first time all night. I shit you not. And it was like, we didn't do a whole hell of a lot. We did 20 minutes, which was great, but nothing too fancy, just old school tag team wrestling. I think it was 3-on-2. Yeah. They were the heels. There was 3 of them, 2 of us. And, not to jerk myself off or nothing, he did most of the work. I got to give him all the credit, but there was just something that we gave them that they wanted to see. They didn't really want to see guys go chop for chop or do heavy suplexes that night. They wanted to see just classic good guy, bad guy stuff. Mm-hmm. And they wanted to see the guys with the long hair strut and preen and all that. So we gave them that. We didn't go out there and make each other bleed because the first 3 matches did that, and we found out real quick there's no money in it. So why are you going to try to swim upstream, So it's exactly what you said. You got to be able to work differently in front of who you're working with because they might not buy it in Tupelo, brother.
Yeah, and on a side note, too, your partner who was kind of pissed that you had to slow down, in hindsight, he's probably like, I'm glad he slowed my ass down. You know what I'm saying? You probably helped him out in a weird way.
Well, he's always been light years beyond me. I mean, the biggest compliment he ever gave me was he didn't know he was doing it even. He was watching one of our old matches back. He was great. He got put in a program with me my first year, both as a partner and an opponent. So I got good real quick because he bottle fed me like a baby. And we ended up having a 20-minute ladder match one night at an Outlaw Mud Show. So some asshole took over the town, and a bunch of us just put on the show. Just say, fuck you, you're not going to run us out. We'll work where we want to, So they come up with the bright idea having me and Randy do 20-minute ladder match in the opener. Okay, never did a ladder match. He put me over huge. give him the razor's edge off the ladder, climb the ladder, get the thing. Fantastic match. So he was watching it back on his YouTube channel a couple of years ago, or his Facebook rather. He was watching the match and doing a watch and talk thing. And when it was over, he put me over and said it was actually a good match, and that I had gotten a lot better than he remembered. And that made me feel great because Randy's a great guy, but he's not going to sugarcoat anything. Like, he'll tell you right to your face if something you did was the shits. So, you know, he was never a huge fan of doing the tag team with me, and it's fine. It wasn't personal. He did a great job with it, and I learned a lot from him. You know, I don't know if he'd agree with your assessment, but I kind of do in a sense that it made the matches we had flow a little better. Because my one thing with him is he does try to do a lot. Like, he'll do a lot. He would always call the match as the vet.
Gotta get your shit in.
Well, he'd be there with like Johnny Knockout or QT Marshall and these guys who could do a million things. And he'd be like Macho Man. He'd want to map the whole thing out, A to the Z. And I'd be like,
that's what I mean about you helped him out by slowing him down a little bit. I think you might have helped him in the long run.
I mean, I don't know if he'd agree, but I know it got me good at knowing how I can work that kind of match. Because while they're drawing the NASA blueprint, I'm like, all right. And so my spot is, okay, so you kick him, I come in and do my deal. And then, all right, yeah, that's all I need. You guys got what you got. I'm just going to stick with my three things because I can't fuck with that. It's too much. I mean, some guys can do that. I can't do that. I can't memorize a script. I can't. It's too much.
Let's switch gears here a moment.
Well, real quick, I want to step in actually because normally I kind of stick to a script with questions, but you gave us a little bit of insight as far as the way you kind of open a match and kind of have a set mind of what a spot's going to be. How do you handle, hey, you're going to do a ladder match for the first time ever? How did you do that?
Well,
how did you plan that out? What in your mind? How did you fucking process that? Because that's a lot to process. To be like, hey, this match you've never had before, it's really, really popular. Go do one and start the night off with it. That's a big ask.
Well, yeah, we knew it was going to be a ladder match in advance. So, yeah, we didn't know it was going to open. I didn't know I was going to work twice. I ended up working Carnage, great dude from down in Louisiana. He come up for the weekend, so he brought his title, his Tri-State Wrestling Alliance, I think it was. So the winner of the ladder match got the shot at his belt. So like, you mind working twice?
You had to have a ladder match and then make sure you were okay to wrestle again
in a title match.
Okay, continue. This is fucking wild. This is good. Continue.
This is where my trust in Randy comes in, because I knew that all I had to do was basically be in position for what he was going to give me. He's always going to be ready for anything. So I had my couple things I wanted to do, and you know, like when I knew I was going over, I knew what I wanted the finish to be. So when I got there, I asked him if it was okay. He's like, "Yeah, all right, I like that." How I prepared was I just watched a couple of the classic ladder matches, but none of the crazy ones, no TLC, nothing like that. Just like Michaels and Razor was a good one, just to come up with a couple little things. And it didn't even really go that way at all. Like, I don't think we even used anything I watched. It was just like, if it's there, we could do this, or if it's there, we could do that. It really wasn't hard to come up with on the day of, because I knew that Randy had it, and that even if I screwed up, he could cover it. The biggest problem I had was that it was going to go 20, 25 minutes, because I'm used to working 10 by that point. Never been that long ever. So it was like, okay. It's like, well, we'll fight on the floor a little bit. I'll tie you up in ropes and hit you a couple times. The big one was the snap suplex he gave me on the ladder. I felt that, but he took real good care of me. But yeah, it was a little bit of nerves. I was only 2 years in at this point. 3 maybe. 3 years. Yeah, about 3. That sounds right. 3 years in. Never did a ladder match. But enough of my friends had done them too. So I hit them up for a little bit of advice. They're like, yeah, just, stay loose. If you get tense, you're going to ball up, and then you're going to crack your back on that fucking thing. If I was working with anybody else, I would have been probably more nervous. But since it was with Kid, Randy, Tarzan, whatever. I knew it was going to be a good match at bare minimum because all I had to do was stand there and take bumps, whatever he wanted to give me. He was real open to do whatever. Had some really cool little spots, like he laid me out. He goes for the lion salt. I roll under. He turns around. I'm right there. Super kick, bam, right in his fucking face. We did some cool shit. Stun gun on the ladder. The ref was the funniest part because he was green. I think it was his first night as a ref. I don't know where they found the guy, but I'm climbing the ladder and we need to kill time. So I'm going up the ladder and then the ref is standing there and I nudge my chin towards Randy. I was like, push me over. And he's like, what, you want me? I'm like, no, him, you fucking idiot. The ref thought I was telling him to push the ladder over. Like, no, get him and tell him to come push me over. But yeah, no, a lot of times it's who you're working with, I guess would be the best answer to your question. When you know for a fact you're in there with a total pro, a lot of trepidation goes away. I've been in so many situations where just the fact I was either teaming with or working against somebody that was immaculate. I got nothing to worry about. All I got to do is be present in the moment. So that's how we got through it. And it was one of my favorite pieces of business.
And that's great insight. That's kind of why I wanted to ask. Like, it's a wonderful business where you're like, wow, I've never had this type of match before. Who am I working with?
That's what I wanted to say.
Full trust in the guy you're in the ring with. That's fantastic.
I was going to say I had a statement and then I had a question. So the statement is, we do a lot of these interviews with a lot of in-ring talent, and one reoccurring thing is every single person that we've interviewed has that someone that they showed so much appreciation to that helped them become the in-ring talent that they are today. Mm-hmm. And I love it because we always talk about how wrestling is a brotherhood. We're podcasters. We had a backyard wrestling organization when we were younger, but we never were in the ring. No. But
wrestled in the
we understand, like, it's a brotherhood. Like, everybody, it's all love. Yeah. And it's a wonderful thing.
Yeah. We try to make it like that. I mean, I'll tell you something real quick. Nobody knows. You were talking about the backyard thing. More guys do that than let on. I never did that technically, but I kind of did back in the day. And my buddies, John, Jahi, and a bunch of us. My buddy Jahi, he had a spare room up front of his house that they just would use the fuck around room. And we used to play fight and wrestle back there. One time I speared him through the wall. He went to pick me up for the jackknife and I just speared him right through the wall. We were panicking. His mom was coming home at 6 o'clock from work. We had to rush to replace the sheetrock in an hour. That was a disaster. Piss poor job. But yeah, a lot of guys have roots in that direction just because it's like you got the itch to do something wrestling related. You got to let it out somehow, so.
Absolutely. So to switch gears a little bit, you did say earlier that you have been a wrestling fan pretty much always. So when you were a kid, who was the wrestler that drew you in? Who was the guy that was your first guy?
Hulk Hogan. Absolutely. I would have been about 2 years old. I don't know how I would have seen it. My dad probably would have been putting stuff on the TV. It was at the first place we lived in South River. That I remember. And it was Hulk Hogan versus the Iron Sheik in a steel cage match. And I remember just seeing the bell ring and Hogan 84? Go apeshit on Sheiky and start choking him out with the headband. And Sheik was busted open already. And I was immediately hooked. I was a fan for life based on that. And I wasn't like really super into it until it was about 6 or 7, really. The Mega Powers angle, which was my two favorite wrestlers at the time. So that whole thing is, to me, still my favorite angle of all time. It's Shakespearean in tone for almost anything that's ever been done in pro wrestling. So yeah, that was really what peaked it for me. And there was a bit of a lull. Then the NWO years, big boom. It always comes back to Hogan for me. I was fortunate enough. My wife and I were able to meet him in 2013. And I got to shake his giant hand and tell him that he was a big inspiration for me. Got to thank him for that and tell him that I've been, at the time, wrestling for almost 4 years. And, he thought that was cool. So, yeah, Hogan would be the guy, number one of all time.
Have
Right
you been to
behind
Hogan's Hangout?
didn't get to do any of that. No.
No. It's
Very
unfortunate. My
sad.
brother works there actually in Clearwater
Oh,
at Hogan's Hangout. Yeah.
A couple of my buddies got to go down there and they got some of the shirts that you can only get there. I'm super jealous.
Yeah.
One of them, I told him, he's got to bring me back one next time he goes down
Well,
there.
listen, I got a connection with a discount. We
Yes.
can talk after this.
We will. And then right after Hogan, the next guys with barely any room in between would have been Savage and Piper during that time of my life. So, and when I work, guys who watch me work, they can see a little bit of that. I even rip off Hogan stuff sometimes, which is a little guy you don't see too much, but it's all in how you carry yourself, you know. So those are the guys I grew up watching, and you know, the people you watch, they tend to be kind of the people you work like, is what I've noticed.
When you got back in, you said you kind of watched, and then it took a lull, which it did.
It does for everybody.
And then NWO era came back. Were you watching more NWO, or were you back watching WWF, or were you watching both?
No, I was already pretty annoyed with WWF by like '93. So when Hogan left, that really, I didn't have much reason to keep watching it. I liked Brett, so I kept up with what he was doing. I liked Diesel, so I kept up with that. But I wasn't a WWF fan anymore, which is kind of weird for some people because I grew up in New Jersey. That's all that was up here. You know, not every cable station even had NWA or WCW wrestling. You had to buy the after mags to know what was going on. Pro Wrestling Illustrated, The Wrestler, Inside Wrestling. I still have hundreds of magazines all boxed up in the other room in my library. Yeah, I didn't really grow up watching WCW, but once I got exposed to it, I thought it was way better. Way better. And not all of it. You know, when Hogan went there, they had some stuff that was really not good. The Dungeon of Doom stuff was not good. But the NWO,
it was so good.
We watched the cage
match.
It was awesome.
It was like, you know, the movie Killer Clowns from Outer Space? It's so bad that it's good.
Yeah.
That Dungeon of Doom stuff was so bad that it was good.
Yeah.
Especially it's not hot.
Yeah.
That was the best. It was the best.
There's no Hulkamaniacs here. There's not about to be too many Hulkamaniacs here. We keep running this angle. I was like, oh man, for Mystery Science Theater purposes, it was great. But you know, it was like we just had Stunning Steve and Flying Brian 5 minutes ago. What the hell? You know, I understood why some people didn't appreciate the shift in tone, but I liked seeing a lot of guys get a second life. You know, a lot of guys got a huge shot in the arm by jumping. And then I wasn't a fan really of the WWF attitude type stuff. I thought it got too far away from wrestling. I mean, you know, I like women. I watched Howard Stern. I liked all that stuff, but I didn't need to watch wrestling for that. You know, it's like everywhere back then, that aggressive attitude stuff. It was everywhere you watched on TV. It was on your TV. It was in the movies. It was in the music. So it was like, you know, if I want to see girls with big hooters, I'll watch porn. I don't need to watch wrestling for that. I mean, I had guys in a weight room, they'd come to school the next day and we'd be pumping iron and they'd be like, oh my God, you see Sable last night? Oh my God. I'm like, bro, like she's wearing basically a bathing suit. You know, I was like, calm down. Have you ever seen nipples? You know, it made wrestling fans to me seem kind of like people I didn't want to be lumped in with. I those too juvenile, you know.
No, it's fair because a lot of those people a lot of people at that time only tuned in because of that.
Sure.
They weren't wrestling fans. They were fans of good-looking women in small doses because they unfortunately, unless they went to a strip club, never got to be around good-looking women that were half naked.
Close as they were going to get.
Being lumped into like saying like, you know, I didn't want to be perceived as that type of wrestling fan. And that's an interesting take. It really is. Because, like, I never really looked at it like that. It's a good point, dude.
We have had the discussion several times about the Attitude Era. And
we have.
Our discussion usually is Francisco, who's not here, and I kind of say, like, okay, that was, like, the start of a lot of these guys becoming huge stars. But Aaron has been pretty adamant about not being the biggest fan of that era.
No, I think the wrestling and the storyline sucked. I think
Yeah.
it changed the course of wrestling for sure. But as far as the quality of, if you go back and watch it now,
It's bad.
It doesn't watch very good. If
Yeah.
you go back and watch old WCW, which I didn't watch, it watches way better.
Yeah.
It aged so much better.
I was always the weird guy where I would watch any match. Like I don't, which is funny now because now I don't watch it. I can only watch stuff up till I got into the business. And we'll talk a little bit more later about why I don't really watch it. A lot of guys don't, shockingly. But yeah, I used to watch any match and it wouldn't matter to me. Like I would rather sit through Jerry Flynn versus Juventud Guerrera because I don't know where WCW would come up with their matches back in the day. It was pretty much like they just picked ping pong balls out of a tub.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Or
okay,
El Dandy versus anybody, or Silver King versus anybody. But yeah, I'm with you on some of the
main
people.
event on WCW Saturday night. Luchador El Dandy versus Stevie Ray.
Yeah.
It didn't matter. But that was what was cool to me about WCW is, for one, you never knew who was going to show up on any given night. And the fact that they do these weird matches and they throw out some line on commentary like, oh, the winner of this match is going to move up in the rankings for the television title. Yeah, I just gave you a reason to give half of a shit about the fact that these two guys who shouldn't even be in the same building, let alone, but they're having a match for reasons. And I'm like, this is great. This feels to me like a global wrestling league where anything can happen and where you get the best of Japan, Mexico, Canada, North America, England, and all of that. WWF in 98, 99, 2000, I wasn't getting that vibe at all. It was the same guys having the same match 500 times and all these long, ridiculous reasons why let's me and him fight. It was just, to me, I like, oh my God, I'd rather watch El Dandy versus Silver King with no story just because something's happening. And it's not just this guy standing there talking about why he's mad at the other guy. I really didn't understand for the longest time why wrestling needed angles. I really didn't, which is funny because now I'm a big angle and character guy. But at the time, I was like, can we just get to the fucking wrestling, please? I was notorious for that. And people would be like, why do you give a shit about the fucking wrestling? Like, because it's called fucking wrestling.
That's where I'm at. That's what I always said about the Attitude Era. People are like, it's so good. I'm like, name the best Attitude Era match. The best matches are post and pre.
That's the beautiful thing about competition. And we say it all the time with AEW and WWE. Yeah. If you want to go for angles, watch WWE. If you want to go for better wrestling, now the angles are definitely getting better. I'm not going to say that they aren't in AEW, but if you want to, it's more in ring, good wrestling. Yeah. WWE has good wrestling, but not as much as AEW, and WWE has better storyline stuff than AEW does, but AEW also has good storyline stuff. So it's nice to have the alternative. That's why I think WCW and the Attitude Era, and it worked so well because there was actual competition. Because once WCW went under, it was just fucking, you were just forced to watch WWE. There was nothing else on TV.
And I always point out that if wrestling fans were just fans of wrestling to the point where they'd watch anything, well, 10 million people were watching WCW every week, right? If they were that diehard and loyal, when WCW went under, Raw would have gotten 10 million more viewers every week. That's not what happened. Instead, 10 million people turned off wrestling and never watched it again because that was their wrestling, the way they liked it. And they never got it again since. TNA said they were going to be that. Not really. AEW, I was a big supporter early on, especially because a lot of my buddies were down there. Joey Janela went down there, Sonny Kiss, Casey Navarro. They had a bunch of my buddies down there. And they said they were going to be sports-based presentation. They said they were going to be like WCW. They said a lot of things. A lot of it didn't pan out. They've had their ups and downs. I could say to me, they were more watchable than WWE, but I've been very disappointed as well with a lot of what I saw from AEW over the years, but they've tried, as far as angles, like you said, I don't know if they're still doing it, but I was getting fed up with them when after like 3 years, they were still doing the thing where it's like, oh, here's a guy cutting a promo about anything. And then here's somebody runs in off screen and punches them and they scrap for a bit. And then they cut to something else. And that's an angle. That's not a fucking angle.
Yeah.
And they did it all the time. And it was like the only thing they did. It was like, do you guys only have one way of making matches? So we're here with so-and-so, and he's going to fight, a Jungle Boy at the, boom, boom, boom. Yeah, what's up now? Cut to commercial. And they did that 3 or 4 times every show. And it's like, this is his first fucking day.
It happens from time to time now, but I'm going to tell you that leaps and bounds. He can tell you I was hating on AEW. It was like, I don't want to watch that shit. And if I want to go watch like a good wrestling match, yeah. But if I want to tune in for the long term, it's not for me. Now I've come around. I really enjoy the product. We went to Double or Nothing, and I'm going to tell you right now, was absolutely the best wrestling show that I've ever been to.
I hear a lot of
WrestleMania 40, and I've been to
it was great.
A bunch of shows at the ECW arena, and the Gary Albright Memorial might be the best wrestling event I've ever been to, but that AEW show was fantastic.
Yeah. Gary was a beast. But
I hear a lot of great things from people who go to AEW events. They say that they're very fan friendly and very exciting, and I totally buy that because back in the day, around 2009 to 2010, TNA came up here and they did a couple shows in Asbury Park that were not well attended at all. Got like, maybe 900 people. But they were fantastic shows. The crowd work was off the charts. Jarrett, man, he does not care how many people are there. Jarrett is one of the people I have always idolized because he's such a pro. And he doesn't care if there's 10 people in that building. He will find one motherfucker in the front row and get all the heat. Like you'll have people coming in from outside to watch Jarrett get heat on this fat slob in the front row. The TNA shows we went to were really, really a lot of fun. More people should have been there. This was when AJ Styles was world champ. Right around that time, like 5 minutes pre-Hogan. Yeah. So that was very fun, even though the TV product didn't always relay it. And I get the same thing with AEW. Like people always say, oh yeah, the show's this, but when you go, it's like a whole different thing. The vibe is off the charts. So I've heard that consistently about them. So I definitely got to give credit to where it's due. The vibe is a huge part of putting on a wrestling show. And
TNA very much is like TNA very much, in my opinion, is like WCW, where it didn't play well when it was out to some people, but now you go back and watch old TNA now. We've watched
yes,
I don't know how many TNA throwback matches. Like this is insane. So some of the wrestling that was back there, the stars that were there. But real quick, I want to talk more, kind of bring it back to you, dude. I want to bring it back to you a little bit. You've wrestled all over the place. All right. What's your favorite venue that you've ever wrestled at? Or what's your favorite venue that you go to on the regular? Either one or both.
Well, I've always had a soft spot for Manville. Had some great times in Manville.
I'm in Manville twice a week.
Yeah, the Manville VFW, Manville, New Jersey. That's always a hot spot. Brick, New Jersey, the Brick Elks. I always loved working the Brick Elks, and that was the night where I got to hang out with Kevin Nash all night.
That's cool.
So I always have a soft spot for that. Real great story, real quick. Yeah, like any story of me is quick. Nash, he was supposed to do the intermission, do the Polaroids, and we were just bullshitting all night. I don't know. Me and Kev, we always hit it off real good whenever we see each other. And so we're just bullshitting. And then his agent, Eric Sims, comes in to get him for the intermission. And Kev, he's just doing the praying mantis, he just leans back in his chair with the hands back. He's like, nah, I'm not going out there. Those people were rude this afternoon, and I'm not going to take it. And Sims was like, you're kidding, right? And Kev just turns to me and says, so like I was telling you, and just goes back to his story. Like, fuck out of here, Sims. So Sims had to go out there and tell the crowd Nash wasn't coming out for the 8x10s, and that pissed a lot of people off. Worked out great for me. So yeah, Brick Elks, a lot of fun. Always had a great time there. Haven't been to Brick or Manville for a long time, however. So I will say, the Falcon's Nest is pretty much my home base in PA, and that's a great place to go. High Ground is there every month. Hopefully, still going to be there for a long time to come. Intimate venue, but they have a way of making 100-something people sound like 1,000 people. I don't know what it is. If there's magic in the air every time we go there, and plus it doesn't hurt that there's the bars right through there. So after the show, you can relax a little bit before you head out. That's always fun. So
the Falcon's Nest is where our friend friend of the show, Mike Payton, murdered that damn pinata.
Sure did.
Yeah, boy, I tell you, he's a scoundrel, that guy. I don't know.
Yeah, Viva la Revolution, buddy, because I'm behind him.
They're making big moves. One place I'm going to be coming up soon that we've been there for the past 4 years and hopefully for the next 400 is First Energy Stadium, where we're going to be having RCW Rumblemania because, again, it's a ballpark show. Every year, after the Fighting Phillies game, they have a show, and you get a couple thousand people stay after the ball game, and it's a really great atmosphere. It's a great for any indie guy to say they worked in front of that many people, period, is always a great experience. But it looks great on camera too. I mean, last year when I was there and I walked out and wrestled Mr. Ooh La La, love working with him, fantastic veteran, defended my championship. And when I'm there holding up the belt and I look and I see myself on the big screen in the ballpark with
dude.
The visual, you get goosebumps just thinking about it. So I like to repost that every once in a while on my social media. And yeah, that's coming up on July 17th. So always once a year we go up there, and that's always something I look forward to a lot. And it's always a great time, and I'm looking forward to it again. I'm probably going to have some new theme music for the occasion.
Beautiful.
You got to give a photographer a heads up to get a good shot of you. Like, tell him, bro, when I hit the post at a certain angle, get a fucking good shot to post for your socials. Have them hook you up, dude.
There's a friend of ours, a very, very, very talented photographer. Friend of ours. We grew up with the guy, and I've been trying to get him to go to wrestling shows to do it. Like his shots are amazing. Paul Greth.
Yeah.
He's just amazing. And I've been trying to get him to do wrestling stuff, and he's just like, oh, I don't know, bro. I have to go with you to one of the shows. So hopefully soon we're gonna get this guy here. But we got some go-to questions that we ask in every interview that are fun ones. Yep. Okay.
Of course.
So
great time.
I'm gonna go ahead and preface this with it's something we do for every show. Our previous interview asks a question for our next interview, not knowing who we're going to have on. Our last guest was Brian Hubbard. Brian Hubbard is a former in-ring talent. Now he is focusing on the podcast realm, and he's got a show called The Push. His question for you, Rikki, is what is the worst reaction that you've ever gotten at a show?
Worst reaction I've ever got. Well, that is a great question, because the worst thing you could ever really get is silence. But I try real hard to make sure somebody at least says something. I'm very vocal. I yell a lot. I pretty much bully people into making noise. So yeah, no, I'd have to say the worst reaction I ever got came from some confusion. And it was the ref kind of blew the match for us. I was working in Manville, and I had a match with a gent called Nate Mustang. Real great guy, real great worker. He was coming back off a knee injury, and we had a great match planned out. And we were the popcorn match before Vader. Vader was going on in the main event. Cool. So we had, we knew people were going to be off, getting their last whatever in, but we still want to have a great match. And yeah, I'll work your knee over, make him squeal in front of his family in the front row and everything. And it should have been a great match, but unfortunately, our ref was not really a well-trained ref. He was training to be a wrestler, but he wasn't there yet, so they had him ref our match. And he got really good at wrestling, so I won't name him. People who see the video will know who it is. But yeah, I won't name him because he became a hell of a worker, and I don't want to embarrass him. It wasn't his fault. It was just he got nervous. So I
green.
yeah, exactly. So I put the ring post figure 4 on Nate, and he's screaming and tapping out, but it's an illegal hold, right? So you can't legally tap out to that. The ref calls for the bell, even though he knows that's not the finish. And the air just went out of the building. Because first of all, the whole point was he's supposed to go over me because I was murdering his leg so he could do a big comeback in front of his family and friends, his first match back after a knee injury, blah, blah, blah. So I'm breaking his leg. He's supposed to come back and hit the fucking F5 or something on one leg on me. That's what we were building to. So instead, he submits to the ring post figure 4. The ref calls for the bell, and everything just kind of stops dead. And we don't, that's not the finish. So instead, they restart the match. We should have just called it because at least that would have been less confusing. But we restarted it. Did the rest of our match. Nobody knew how to react, so it was dead. We did all the things. He did the big move on one leg, pinned me, but it was very flat because, the ref finish. So I knew we had to get some kind of heat. So afterwards, I go up, I get in the ref's face, I'm bitching at him. I'm like, what the hell? And then I grab him by the shirt. I'm like, eat the super kick. And then I just shove him back and then boom, and laid him out. And they popped for that because like, oh, this guy's a fucking idiot anyway, right? So, and then we get in the back. I says, dude, I had to do it because I had to give him something to make it last.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
So, and then they said you should have just gone home after he tapped out to the figure 4, even though it was an illegal hold. Whatever. He's like, you weren't getting the booker. He's like, you weren't getting him back after that. I'm like, I know that now. So that would be the worst reaction I ever got because we clusterfucked to a symphony of confused silence for 5 minutes longer than we should have. I tried to do the right thing. I wanted to make him look good. We didn't get to any of the stuff that was going to make him look good. You live and you learn.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. So just keep in the back of your mind here, before the interview is over, you're going to have to give us a question for our next guest, who you do not know who it's going to be. I just wanted to say that before Aaron came with his next question.
I'll come up with something good. I always do.
The insight of the in-ring psychology that you're giving us is phenomenal. So thank you for that.
That's what I'm all about.
I've sensed a little bit of a theme though, and I want your take on this. You've now mentioned 2 separate times where there's been an issue in a match with a referee. How important is the referee in a match? Because it seems like it really is 3 guys in the ring, or if it's a tag team, but it seems like the ref plays a really important role and it's maybe kind of understated or underappreciated in a sense.
Oh, the refs are absolutely underappreciated. I've had so many times where something will go askew. Maybe you bump heads. Maybe a guy will undershoot a dive and you're rolling through it, but he'll still catch part of it. Like maybe he'll land on your ankle or something like that. And, whatever, the ref is right there. Check, give you the Iggy. You all right? You're all right? Like, yeah, all good. That's something that can't be overstated. Sometimes if I'm like in the moment, I'll be half annoyed just for a second because like, dude, I'm fine. But then I'm like, oh, wait, this is very dangerous shit we're doing. He's trying to make sure that I'm not, broken bone or something. He's doing more than what his job is. So I relax. I'm like, yeah, dude, thanks for checking on me. And I always make sure to thank them for checking on us or for doing whatever. Yeah, the ref can be huge on a
It's
good
refreshing
or
to hear.
bad.
Hell yeah.
It can be good or bad because sometimes like they'll be a little too snug on you. I like to work the corners a lot. You know, like I said, very old school. I'll get a guy in the corner. I'll either give him some Nash elbows or I do the Macho Man jab spot. You know, boom, 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 boom. Ooh, yeah. Big right hand. So you got to have some room to work. Some guys really like to be on you with that 5 count. You know, like 1, 2, 3. And I'm like, bro, let me fucking work.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's usually a guy who's a little green and they're getting a little too excited. Most guys, after they've done it a while, they know how to walk that line between being the official, but also, and I'll tell a guy if he's really green now, I've been doing this long enough now, almost 20 years, I could pull a guy and be like, so let us work. Like, you know what the finish is. So if we're doing some work in the corner or on the ropes, don't be so quick to, you know, do your job, threaten to ring the bell, but like, you know, give us the time to let the spots breathe, you know. But you know, for the most part, I'd have to say that like the ref is more of an asset than a hindrance most of the time because again, they're there checking on you if something goes askew. A lot of times when guys are green, they lose track of time. I'm pretty good by now at figuring out, okay, it's been 4, we got 4 to go, just because I know how long shit takes. But when guys are green, they'll be like, where are we? Where are we? Where are we? The ref will usually, if whether he's got an earpiece or if he just knows. Like I've had some refs just know on the fly, like this match is it's not where it needs to be, or it's as good as it's gonna get, and they'll be like, "Just take it home." That's a valuable thing too, because like if it ain't working, it ain't working. Or sometimes it is working, but maybe the next 2 minutes you had planned isn't going to be as good as the thing you just did.
Yeah.
And you know, like, okay, take it home, and they'll tell you that. I rely on them sometimes. Like sometimes if I get gassed or if I take a hard shot to the ribs and I'm out of breath, I'll be like, maybe I won't remember how much time.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, guys, 1 minute. Be like, oh, thank God. And, you know, it really can't be understated how helpful the ref can be in there. And that can be whether, obviously, it helps to be very experienced, but even the guys who are green, if they're willing to listen and just kind of stay out of the way, the worst thing they could be is in the way. Like I've had guys, you know, get too snug, and I've had to kind of be like, bro, but that's rare. You know, most guys they kind of figure out pretty quick where they got to be. They need to mind the roving camera though. That's the one thing I'll say about most refs. They know where the hard cam is, but not the ringside. So they get in the ringside cameras way too much. So if you're out there and you're reffing, mind all the cameers, not just the hard.
Did you have to train to be a ref when you were doing the wrestling training as well, or is that something you didn't do?
No. They figured right away that with my look, they were gonna have to rush me through really quickly with everything because I looked too much like a wrestler. Even when I was doing security, people would constantly ask me, like, so when are you going to start? Like they knew. And I was supposed to keep things like really quiet. Like, oh, me? Wrestle? Oh, maybe. But the guy had plans for me. So some guys reffed first and wrestled later, but I would have been too conspicuous. Because I already had the hair and the whole look and everything. They're like, no, you're made to be a wrestler, so we're just going to jump you over right into that. And a couple guys wanted to be wrestlers, but they couldn't, for one reason or another, do that. So they became referees, and that was their in. And hey, man, that could be a lot harder. I mean, I work for 10, 15 minutes. They're out there for an hour. You know, my hat's off to them. I don't know if I could do it.
Real quick, with all this referee love,
I
want to shout out 2 local referees for us in this Allentown area.
Please do.
One is a gentleman named Steven. I'm probably butchering his last name. Zuniga.
Ooh, probably not that.
Zuniga.
All right.
Oh yeah,
wonderful referee. He's a wonderful referee. And then another one is a young lady who's actually wrestling too, but she is being a referee until she can get more opportunities in ring. And her name, she goes by Aurora Lee. Great work. She did the crowd work there. At this last show I was at, the wrestler took off his glasses and threw them at her. She caught him and put his glasses on and then ref the match with his glasses on. Come on.
That'd win me over too.
See, those are the little things you do on the fly that makes it all really pop. You know, some great refs I had were at the Monster Factory, which I'm so sad that they went down. Shout out to Danny Cage. Love you, brother. Larry Sharp. Rest in peace. But Steve Chaz. Steve Chaz used to go out there, and some nights he'd be the only ref they had, and he would work the whole show. He would come back, towel off real quick, and they'd be like, once again, your referee, Steve Chaz. He'd go right back out there. He was a beast. So hats off to him. Jimmy Storm. Jimmy Storm was notorious for he hit the ropes harder than anybody I'd ever seen. He was a little guy, he was about my height, about 5'9", but he hit the ropes so hard you'd swear the ring would move. And he wrestled a little bit, but he had more of a calling as a referee, so he was great at that. He reffed a bunch of my early matches. I saw him not that long ago. He's doing good. I don't know if he's still in the business. But he was a great ref of mine. And Pinky over at High Ground, I got to apologize to him. Now, here's the little ways a match can change just by the referee, too. I was wrestling Damon Dante back in February. This was a hell of a day. My wife and I, we got in a car accident on the way to the venue. Jesus. The car was totaled. We almost died. There's 3 feet of snow. It was horrible. I had broken bones in my hand. I was wrestling Damon Dante for the U.S. title. I don't know how I managed it, but it was one of the best matches I ever had in my life. He's fantastic. But I was a wreck through the whole thing. But, man, we went out there, and I was pulling off stuff I've never done in 20 years and just, trying everything I could to try to kill this kid and take his belt. But he's too tough. And so then the match got thrown out because after 15 minutes of mauling him, I can't finish him. So I'm in the corner, and I'm just pounding him. And Pinky, he keeps getting in my way, trying to get between us. And finally, I had enough. And I thought I just kind of nudged him out of my way, but next thing I know, he goes flying from one corner to the other fucking corner. They ring the bell. I'm like, oh, fuck me, I'm fucked. So there went my title shot. But oh man, so I like asking him, "What'd you put your hands on me for, man?" And then I get through the curtain, and the boss is like, "What the fuck, man?" Because he went. I'm like, I barely touched him. I barely touched this guy. And zoom, if you see the tape, it's unbelievable. You'd swear he had Max Moon's jetpack strapped to his back. I haven't seen a ref go flying like that in my life. And I swear to this day, I barely touched him. But that might have been a career trajectory changing moment for all I know. There was heat for that. There was heat. So yeah, it was him. He took his own bump, and he's a pro. Hats off to him. The refs are a big part of any match. A bad one can fuck it all up, but a great one can make it really, really special. So people should always, if you're out there and if you're a worker, I should not have to remind you of these things, but I'm going to remind you anyway. Thank your fucking referee. Thank your fucking referee.
I think that's great advice.
Wonderful,
to be honest with you.
Wonderful insight.
So because he's not here and
sound guy, they should be thanking the fucking program person, the ticket taker. Everybody on the show is important, but so thank all of them, but especially thank the third person or fifth person if it's a tag. Thank that other guy in the ring with you. Absolutely. If you're not, you weren't 100%. Brought in.
See, this is a question that Francisco asks every interview, but he's not here, so I'm going to ask it for him.
Yeah.
He's always interested in knowing a person's Mount Rushmore of professional wrestlers.
Sure.
It's something he asks every time. And Mount Rushmore is only 4, so don't give me 5. Don't give me 3. Don't fuck around. We want 4.
Yep.
We know 1 and 2 are easy and 3 and 4 are difficult. It's usually how it goes.
Well, 3 of the 4 are going to be really difficult. It's honestly one of my least favorite questions because, of course, there's impact on the business, but then there's also my personal, and I'm biased as hell.
No, we want your personal.
Go with personal.
Go
Because
personal.
we did a whole, dude, you can go back to our archive, and we did a whole series of Mount Rushmore and Mount Rushmores because you can't just have a Mount Rushmore. We have Mount Rushmore of workers, baby faces, heels, tag teams, managers.
From the conversations that we had today, I think you would thoroughly enjoy those episodes. The Mount Rushmores of Mount Rushmores. We did 4 episodes with 4 categories, Mount Rushmores of each category.
Yeah. But your personal
the biggest thing for me, it's all going to be people who influenced me greatly as a worker and as a performer. Cool. The problem is that inevitably I'm going to leave people off. And that's heartbreaking because, but at the end of the day, it's also people who it maybe want to wrestle, you know. It'd be much easier even if I had 5, but if there's only 4 and it's totally personal and not strictly because obviously if people are going to bring in things like impact on the business, it all changes.
Sure.
No, strictly personal.
That's a caveat. So my 4 horsemen of the apocalypse for professional wrestling. Number 1, Hulk Hogan. He's the biggest star in the business. He changed the game multiple times. He rocked it on both sides of the ocean. He was just as big a star in Japan as he was in the United States. Anybody who said he couldn't work is a blind fool or a liar. They've never seen some of his amazing matches that he had over there. Tenryu, and, Antonio Inoki, bloodbaths with Duel of the Butcher, brawling, mauling matches with Stan Hansen. I mean, Hogan did it all, and he did it for longer than anybody all over the world, which is something a lot of guys can't say. I mean, Stone Cold Steve Austin was the biggest draw the WWF ever had, but he didn't set the Orient on fire, right? He didn't knock out Antonio Inoki at a time when nobody fucking beat Antonio Inoki.
Yeah.
I always point that out when people talk about, Hogan couldn't work and people in the business didn't respect him. I'm like, how many jobs you think Inoki did, brother? Inoki wouldn't even job the fucking Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, and if we want to get into it here, when Austin was a star, he didn't work that much either. You know what I mean? If you're going to say that Hogan didn't work, Austin, at the height of his popularity, there wasn't much working going on there either.
He already had a broken neck and knee surgery, so
that was to his misfortune. I just recently found out on 411 Mania, I found out about a stretch Hogan had, a 2-week run he had in Japan, where he wrestled every night for 2 weeks straight. This would have been in like 81 or 82. And he was fighting like a murderer's row of guys. I mean, he had Andre and Hansen and Abdullah. It wasn't like he was going out there and doing 5 minutes with some powder puff. He was having these 20-minute wars night after night after night in Tokyo and all this stuff. So Hogan to me is number 1. And some people, I even said this in my
that stretch. That stretch is when he said he wrestled 400 nights in 1 year. That's what he's talking about. That stretch.
Here's the thing. He legitimately did wrestle. Back then, the tours were 14 days on and 14 days off. I'm sure it felt like 400 days. By the end of it, he was legitimately doing 14. I've never wrestled 14 days in a row in my fucking life. I especially didn't do it against guys like Stan Hansen and Genichiro Tenryu every night.
Yeah.
So fuck me. I mean, I said in my tribute video I did when he passed away, we could talk about Mount Rushmores all day long and who belongs on it. Hulk Hogan is the fucking mountain. Period. Dot. So that right there might skew the whole question, but he's got to be number 1 right there. 2 for me would be. This isn't in order of importance necessarily either, because you could flip 2 and 3 easily. But I'll go Randy Savage. He was the other half of the Mega Powers coin, and that angle was what made me love pro wrestling and fall in love with the storytelling aspects of it, not just the physical, but the themes of these two enemies who became friends, who became enemies, and all of that arc, and not just where it went for that first 2 years, but it went into other companies, and the lore carried on for a decade plus, right? I mean, this was serious shit.
Into a
Savage.
Into a rat beef, yes.
rat beef.
I mean, hey, Danny Doring used to come out to that on the Indies. He used to come out to be a man. That was his indie theme. Savage, see, he worked a style I don't particularly care for. That write it all down A to Z style. I don't like that. But you can't deny that the matches he produced and performed were impeccable. There are not really any bad Randy Savage matches except for the George Steele stuff and the stuff from 99 onward after his knees were gone. When he came back and he was like 50 pounds of steroid muscle and all that. Yeah, it wasn't good anymore. And but Savage, there are no bad Randy Savage matches. I mean, he was the guy who taught me how to work a 2-minute TV match. Because at the Reading Fighting Philly show a couple years ago, me and Sam Adams, we were supposed to have 10 minutes, bell to bell, or curtain to curtain. And then they were like,
Mr. Good Luck. Sam Adams. We love Sam Adams.
Hey, he's a great guy. And we said the promoter comes up to us. There was like a rain out for part of the show. And he's like, yeah, we got 2 minutes now. Sorry, guys. You got 4 minutes with entrances, 2 minutes in the ring. Make it work. So thankfully, I watched a lot of Randy Savage back in the day, and he was like the king of the 2-minute TV match. So get in, do the fucking hits, get out. You know, boom, boom, hit your finish, 1, 2, 3. Sometimes that's all it takes. So there's a lot to learn. There's the epic 20-minute Randy Savage matches, and you got the 2-minute Randy Savage matches, and they're all fantastic to watch. So he's got to be on my Mount Rushmore. Roddy Piper has to be on my Mount Rushmore. As a kid of Celtic descent, I come to find out in recent years my family is Scots-Irish, and are actually royalty on both sides of that coin. From the Scottish, I think it's the Irish Lowlands and the Scottish Highlands, I think. My family was royalty on both ends, so that was pretty awesome to find out. But so I always had a fucking connection, a kinship to Roddy Piper, and I always loved how he wasn't the biggest guy, but he would go out there and chew your face off to win a wrestling match. Right?
Yes.
You look at his matches with Andre versus everybody else's matches with Andre. Andre would hit you and you'd sell. Andre would slam you and you'd scream. He'd throw Piper. Piper would get up and he'd jump off the top rope and he'd grab on Andre's back and pull his hair and scratch his face, and Andre would throw him, and Piper would get up again and he'd jump right back on him and he'd try to rake his eyes and bite his forehead and all that shit. It was like, damn, this guy won't stay down. And then years later, he come to read Roddy's book, and he talked about how his philosophy towards pro wrestling was always, I can't make people believe that pro wrestling is real, but I can make them believe that I am.
Real. He's the fucking man, dude. I'm with you.
That's something I carry with me to this day, is I really try to bring that sense to reality, even though my character is a little bit removed from that. You know, Rikki Roxx, you know, he's the Lord of rock and roll, the God of thunder, the master of the multiverse. He rides the lightning, calls down the thunder, and travels between dimensions, time, and space to take on all comers. A little bit of a megalomaniac, that Rikki Roxx, but you know, when it comes to bell, the way I've always looked at pro wrestling is that everything that happens from curtain to curtain is real. So we could have angles, we could have stories, we can cut promos, but what's happening in front of the camera right now is real. That's how I've always looked at it, and I got that from Randy Savage, Roddy Piper, watching their work growing up.
So now we come. I was going to say we come to the number 4, the hardest one, because you're leaving people out that you may want to put in.
It's a coin. It is, but ultimately, I have to steer away a little bit from being too similar to some of the other 3. So I'll give the
tell us
fourth
both of them, and I'll tell you which one's the best one.
I was going to say I'm going to put 4, and then I'll have 5 with an asterisk. So number 4 for me is going to be Kevin Nash.
Wow.
Because not only is he a fantastic guy, He's an amazing guy. My wife and I got to have dinner with him. I've been in the locker room with him many times. I knew I was good when he said I was good. He watched a couple of my matches backstage, and, we would be shooting the shit. And the best advice he ever gave me was slow the fuck down. He's the only guy I've ever met who says fuck more than I do. Yeah, we hit it off like gangbusters right out of the gate. But I'm of the opinion that as far as the in-ring bell to bell, he's the best big guy that's ever worked. Now, we could make a case, obviously, for Andre because Andre's a legend, right? But Andre also was not very mobile, But Nash, he was able to do things like, he could do the leapfrog. He just didn't. Things like that. I remember he told the story of how he got chewed out by Bill Watts one time because he did the leapfrog in a tag match. Like, what the hell was that shit? He's like, well, I mean, I played basketball. I got a 4-foot vertical leap, It's like, why the fuck would the biggest guy in the ring be avoiding contact, you dumb motherfucker? Let the guy run into you and bounce off. What are you, fucking stupid? You're 7 feet tall. Oh, okay. And then he knew how to work, and it's all about how you carry yourself at the end of the day, right? So I'm 5'9", 180, but I carry myself like I'm Kevin Nash, and that makes my work look better. So I learned a lot from him, both talking to him, watching his swagger, so to speak. But I do honestly think that as far as bell to bell, he's the best big man that there was, and he understands psychology and character in a way that most guys don't. I mean, I was fortunate enough to spend hours talking to the guy about movies, life, food, beer, and wrestling. Not his favorite subject to talk about, but get him on movies, you got him all night. Or hockey. I'm not a hockey guy, but I love movies. So
Detroit, it makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Red Wings.
He's big. He's big on that. But you get him talking about movies, he'll always rather talk about movies than wrestling.
So who's your asterisk?
The asterisk would be Jeff Jarrett because I blatantly steal from him constantly. I throw the fucking big uppercut, the Jarrett uppercut or the Memphis uppercut. Lawler did it too. I do that all the time, constantly. The strut, the Fargo strut, I've been doing that since I was a kid. I liked the way he did it from the first time I saw it on TV because it was different from the way Flair did it. Flair actually does it wrong. Jeff does it the way Jackie Fargo used to do it, and that's who they're all ripping off was Jackie Fargo. So I met Jeff in like 2008 or so, 2009 perhaps. I remember I got chewed out because we ended up going to a show later that day. I was late getting to the show because we were at the convention, and the promoter was like, "You got your picture with Jeff Jarrett, though, I bet." I'm like, "Yeah, I did." But good for you. I'm busting your balls. I used to rip his strut. I used to do that in the class every day. The 2 fingers, boom, boom, every class, every day, all 4 years of high school. People thought I was a fucking maniac. And I got to tell him that. And when I started wrestling, that was the first thing that I added to the gimmick was the Fargo strut. And I got to tell him that. And I was like, I hope that's okay. He's like, hell, kid, I ripped it off from Jackie Fargo. He's a great guy. So
what's funny, Ricky, is I'm sorry to interrupt, but what's funny is you saying Jeff Jarrett and Kevin Nash, okay? If it was me, it's Jeff Jarrett over Kevin Nash every day of the week. I just haven't I liked Kevin Nash, NWO. Anything prior to that, the Diesel thing wasn't for me. Aaron here is not a fan of Jeff Jarrett.
Before
I love me some Jeff Jarrett.
No, hang on. Before we wrap it up, before he gets into the final couple questions, I am going to say I fucking hated Jeff Jarrett growing up. I despised Jeff Jarrett growing up. I met Jeff Jarrett. He signed my chair. Coolest fucking guy ever. Now, as a wrestling fan, as a grown man, he was just doing his job very well. As a heel, he made me hate him to the point where I didn't want to see anything. I still, as an adult, I like Jeff Jarrett. I like his podcast. It's great. I met him. He's a cool guy. I can watch his stuff in TNA and after, but anything before that, To this day, I still cannot watch it, which means he does a great job. So kudos to Jeff Jarrett. But
he
man,
was
I hate him as a fucking
classic
kid.
heel.
Holy shit.
Classic heel. And again, for me, a lot of this stuff comes down, I am biased as hell, but the theme that links these 5 guys for Mount Rushmore contention, it all comes back to the psychology. I mean, there are not going to be smarter guys about the business. Raven would be up there number 6 with an asterisk because he's another
Raven. Love Raven, but he's a douche in person.
You know, as Blue Meanie,
a couple encounters with him,
and he's been a douche every time I've met him, and he was one of my favorites. And every time I've met him, it felt like he had everything better to do than to speak to me.
I got him on a good day the first couple times.
There you go.
The one night, it was at the end of a convention. He was at the bar, and he really couldn't be bothered. He didn't remember me. It was a quick hello. The other times, we definitely got him on a great day. I was fortunate enough to spend a lot of time with Meanie, Brian Heffron at the Monster Factory.
Good dude.
And
Meanie was always cool.
He reffed a match of mine where I beat LSG in a loser leaves the Monster Factory match. That was fantastic. I got to be in the ring with Blue Meanie. I've been in the ring with some fantastic names. We'll talk about them. But yeah, Meanie, one day I was like, so you got to hang out with Raven all the time. What was that like? And he just kind of shrugs. He's like, you know, there's like good Scotty and evil Scotty. The problem is you don't know who you're getting on any given day. But yeah, you could be like the best guy or the fucking worst guy. And there's really no middle ground. The thing is, he's self-aware enough, and he'll tell you that, though. Scotty will tell you he's an asshole. But he has gotten better with age, so I hear. He was always real nice to me. I could tell the last time I met him, he wasn't having the best time, but it was a real quick thing anyway. But yeah, I've heard a lot of bad stories, but like when it comes to psychology of the business, I don't think there's any living human being who understands pro wrestling better than Scott Levy. Maybe Jim Cornette, but it's tough.
So I got 2 more fun ones, and then we go to you to ask a question. Okay.
All the questions.
The two fun ones are, first one is, if you could choose any song, don't worry about copyright or any of that nonsense, what would you have your entrance theme as? Any song that ever existed.
That's tough because I've used most of them already. Because you know, on the indies, nobody really cares about copyright anyway. I've been using the live version of "I Love It Loud" by Kiss from the Live 3 for the last 5 or 6 years. That's always a good crowd pleaser. I'm probably going to keep that for a while at some places. I got a new one that I'm going to be breaking out pretty soon. It's not like a real. It's kind of like a. Nobody would know it yet, and I don't want to spill the beans on it. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. But let's see. I used a lot of good ones. I used "Welcome to the Jungle" a lot. I used "The Wicker Man" from Iron Maiden. That was always a bucket list one. I got to use that one for a long time. I used "Ride the Lightning" from Metallica. That was fun for a while. Every couple of years, you gotta change it up.
Yeah.
One that I would have liked to use, and I still could if I find a really good mix, but I never, even though I am the God of Thunder and the Lord of Rock and Roll, I never used the song God of Thunder just because I never found a mix of it I really liked. There's a couple good covers out there that are in the folder for my one day maybe. So yeah,
What about Thunderstruck? Since you're the God of Thunder, Thunderstruck or Thunder by Imagine Dragons?
That's not a bad one either. Thunderstruck, though, that belongs to Destiny. There's a really great lady who's been doing ring announcing out here in the Northeast, and especially in Jersey. She's been doing it a long time, and that's her theme. She's so over as a ring announcer, she's got her own theme. So she comes out to Thunderstruck, so that's hers. So respect. You know, I don't want to put any. I don't have enough quarters to throw in the gimmick infringement jar.
No,
so
that's fine.
But it's a great one, though. I mean,
all right. So the next fun one, we ask it in every interview.
I'm excited for this one, actually.
I want to hear a fantasy book one deceased wrestler versus one active wrestler. What is your fantasy match?
Wow. Oh, who's active? Oh man, who's even active anymore? I don't even watch wrestling. Okay, let's see now. Well, for deceased, and because I'm the biggest mark there ever was, and I don't even apologize for that. Deceased would be Hogan, because any dream match of mine is always going to be Hogan versus somebody. Active. Ooh, oh boy. Let's see, because I don't watch it. Actually,
listen,
no, Hogan and Cody Rhodes would pull something off. Hogan and Cody Rhodes could tell a hell of a story.
There you go.
That's a good answer.
That's a good answer.
Hogan and Roman Reigns could do a great fucking match.
Hogan and Roman.
So I'm not saying that active has to be a WWE or AEW person. It could be somebody that you personally know, or you know what I'm saying. It doesn't have to be.
That would be Hogan versus me.
Big league.
It would be Hogan versus me.
Yeah, there you go. That's what I was expecting you to answer, dude.
That's a great answer.
Yeah. I would have my bumping boots on. I'd have my bumping boots on. I'd make that Kidman angle look like a total mistake.
Don't disrespect Billy Kidman, Allentown, Pennsylvania's own Billy Kidman.
I love Kidman, but he didn't understand the assignment. I don't know. Those matches could have been. I don't know.
For sure.
He thought he was going into the angle to get over. I don't know who told him that. That's not what happens.
So you've had some time to think about it. Do you have a question, or what's your question for our next interview?
Let's see. And it's a worker, right? It's going to be a worker or somebody in the business.
It's somebody within the business. Yes. All the people that we have lined up, not saying, sometimes stuff gets rescheduled.
Yeah.
But everybody that we have booked so far is a worker.
Very good. All right. Let's see. Oh man, there's so many. Some of them are a little gross. I don't want to go too far off the reservation.
Listen, we've had some really interesting ones.
Yes,
we've had really good ones, and we've had some silly ones.
Yeah, we've had non-wrestling ones. So whatever you want to know, have fun.
I would say, what's the most embarrassing bodily function to happen to you during a match?
Oh, that's fair.
Yes, that's good.
I was in a battle royal one time where a guy literally shit himself. That was not a good night for everybody else. I'm sure it wasn't a good night for him either, but he got out of there pretty quick.
I was about to say, I think at that point it's like, dude, you need to go up and over and get the fuck out of here, right?
Or white chunks too.
I can't be upset about it because I haven't shit myself since yesterday.
So good job, man.
So I'm doing good in 24 hours without shitting myself.
Nice. It's a record.
No, it's a serious thing. I work for a company where I deliver linen. And I had this gigantic bin, and I went and I ate a whole bunch of fucking Taco Bell the day before.
You already lost.
I went and pushed this thing, and it fucking. I started.
Now I've had marks. Like I never sharded, but like I've gotten to the back after like getting a couple hard shots to the ribs, and there'll be like some color, but nothing.
That's how you know you're getting. Ooh. That's how you know you're getting old, bro. You shit yourself every now and then.
No, that's how you know you're getting hit in the ribs while you're wrestling.
No. To me is I wonder which is longer, the time since I've last shit myself, or the time until I'm going to shit myself again.
Wow. Oh. See, I'm at that point now where in my 40s, I don't risk it. If I gotta go, I gotta go. Like you gotta wait, buddy. That's it.
We're right there with you, man. We're right in the same age range. I tell you what, I'll shit myself. It's so good.
I've heard
washing machines are for.
I heard a story that that Taz once had an orgasm from taking a suplex. That's part of why I ask about, like, because it doesn't mean, when I say embarrassing bodily functions, it doesn't necessarily mean did you shit yourself or piss yourself. I've seen both of those things happen, but apparently anything can happen.
Dude.
Knock on wood, it hasn't happened to me. But
I've heard
yeah,
some wild wrestling stories. I've never heard that one, and that may be the coolest ever. You said Taz had an orgasm taking a suplex or giving a suplex. Which one was it?
I believe the story was he took a suplex from Kevin Sullivan, and when he hit the mat, he just it just hit him. I don't know. I don't understand the physics of that, but I also
I'm with. See, you and I are on the same page. I think that's why it's blowing my mind. Maybe the same way it blew yours, because
things apparently happen. I've heard women swear that they can orgasm from giving head, and if that's the case, then anything. I guess
this isn't too far fetched. I guess you're right. That's fair.
Hey, the human body is a miraculous thing.
Hey, Kevin Sullivan must have stimulated his testicles.
Oh,
maybe the hoist. Maybe it was the hoist. I don't know.
Out of wrestling lore, that may be the coolest fucking story I have ever heard. Ladies and gentlemen,
I wasn't
Rikki
there.
Fucking Rocks.
Oh, hold on. Before we sign off, Rikki.
Yeah, come on.
Once again, we need you to go ahead and plug your shit.
Yeah, let's hear it again.
Give you another opportunity to let these people know what's coming up and where to find you.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Well, I also, before we do that, I didn't get a chance to talk to you about the time that I was across the ring from Danny Doring. I didn't tell you about the time I wrestled Balls Mahoney. We'll have to do another one of these the one time.
Part two will become
part two. We're definitely
do a callback. I'll tell you about the time I teamed with Tony Atlas.
I love the behind the curtain shit, bro. I'd love to hear more stuff. But go ahead and plug your shit.
I could do an hour on that night where we were hanging out with Kevin Nash and Brick. I got chewed out for that, but we had a great time. But yeah, so coming up on July 11th, High Ground Pro Wrestling Summer Showcase at the Falcon's Nest. That's 403 Hudson Street, Mayfield, Pennsylvania. The doors open at 6:30 p.m. Bell time 7. That's Saturday, July 11th. The Asgardian Beast, Kaid Lothbrok, is going to be wrestling the Hawaiian Warrior Kikoa. The Dude is going to be defending the Heavyweight Championship. Damon Dante is going to be defending the United States Championship. That's a match I'm going to have my eye on very closely. But I'm going to be in action as well. Doing what? You're going to have to come find out. I'm not going to spoil it for you. You're going to have to buy a ticket. You're going to have to come to the Falcon's Nest. Gabby Gilbert's going to be there. I'm always excited to see her. She's awesome. That's going to be July 11th. High Ground Pro Wrestling Summer Showcase. Come to the Falcon's Nest. Dig it.
Armando Soba. He'll be there too. I said Armando Soba will be there too.
Yes, that is correct. And then on Friday, July 17th, RCW Rumblemania, Rikki Roxx defends the RCW American Heavyweight Championship against Cody Rose. Great guy, doesn't have a shot. Sorry, buddy. The Dude is going to be in action pursuing John Wes's Ultimate Championship. That's a match I'm going to have my eye on because those two guys are fantastic. Free show with your ball game ticket. It's going to be a great night. Always a hot time at First Energy Stadium, 1900 Center Avenue, Reading, Pennsylvania. Don't forget to check out RCW Promotions on YouTube. Find out all the details. I've been there for 5-6 years now. RCW is the place to be. And then the next night, July 18th, I'm going to be in Avenel, New Jersey for Wrestling and Recovery. That's that's wrestling as in WRN, and then recovery with a WR. Look it up on Facebook. They're a great promotion, great company. Does a lot of outreach work with the community, help people with addiction struggles, mental health struggles. That's Wrestling and Recovery. Wrestling, letter N, WR for recovery. All right, so that's July 18th, Avenel, New Jersey. I'm going to be taking on Iron Bull Argus. The belt's coming with me. I have permission from RCW to defend the American Championship anytime, any place, anywhere, as long as there's a ref in the building. That's going to be 621 East Woodbridge Avenue, Avenel, New Jersey. It's a free event, so you got no excuses. And me and Iron Bull Argus, we've been with each other for years upon years upon years, so you don't want to miss the first time we're going to hook it up. And he's going to have a bad night. Sorry to say, I love the guy, but, it's going to be...
He's got no chance.
It's just business. It's not personal. So those are the big ones coming up in July. June's almost over. I can't believe it. But those are the big ones coming up in July. And there's no what else is going on. You got to check out Rikki Roxx on Facebook and Rikki Roxx on YouTube. I talk more about toys lately on YouTube, though. I have there's a statute of limitations on sharing my new matches. I got to kind of let them sit for a while before I can use the footage. So, yeah, it's mostly older stuff. But in the meantime, I talk about toys a lot. So I'm going to be talking about some of the new DC and He-Man stuff this year. It's going to be great.
Cool.
So that's what's going on.
I got something else too.
right.
Sorry. Good, Aaron. You go first.
Before we even go on, guys, this is why you watch this show. This is a very different interview. The behind the scenes stuff. Again, thank you for that. The insight. I'm a wrestling nerd, so the inside to me, it's the equivalent of like an actor telling you how they
prepared for a role,
prepared for a scene, or prepared for a role.
Yes,
it's very like you're part of it, and that's what wrestling's all about. This is a very different business. We're all a brotherhood. That's why we're doing Getting to Bro You. It's the brothers of discussion.
We 100% appreciate it.
So yeah, that insight, that behind the curtain peek, dude. Thank you so much.
And yes, we'd like to have you back actually to watch one of your matches with us. Do a watch along of one of your matches. I think that would be a lot of fun. Get the insight.
Yeah.
But
I can sign off. Send it to you
because you're talking about on your YouTube.
Yeah,
you're doing a lot of the action figures, toy stuff. I want to hear your favorite wrestling action figure and your favorite just overall action figure before we sign off.
Yep. Good call.
Ooh, well, I gotta say I'm really, really partial to any of the vintage Hogans in the Ultimate line. Like Mattel really has been killing it with the Ultimate line. The Elites are great too, but yeah, like their Hogans from the last couple of years have been next level. Like I didn't get the newest one yet with the shirt tearing gimmick, but that one I can't wait to get my hands on. That to me is like, that's like.
I think they have that Hogan one in a 3-pack of Hogans. With his old blue and white trunks, and then the Hulkamania one, and then the Hollywood Hogan. I think they have it in a 3-pack that they're doing right now.
It's not the same figure. It's not the same figure.
Not. Okay.
Well, plus those are Elites, and the one I'm talking about is from the Ultimate line. So yeah,
okay.
I'm a total nerd with this stuff, bro. I got files on files. It's crazy shit. Yeah,
I think I have a Hogan Elite chase. Was there a chase for the Elite for Hogan? Was there a chase for the Elite?
I would, if I had it in front of me, I could tell you because I got it all written down.
Yeah, I have a bunch of figures. That's why I asked. I might have it. That's the only reason I asked.
The of the ones I own, the WrestleMania 1 Hogan Ultimate might be the best Hogan figure I ever.
Cool.
When I reviewed it for YouTube, I even said this might be the best Hogan figure ever. Cool. As far as toy lines of all time, though, it has to be Master of the Universe. I mean, I just got some new stuff in the mail today. I got the Masterverse new Eternia Moss Man figure, which is amazing. And I got that new one they dropped 2 weeks ago, or last week. Was it not Expandor, the evil version of Extendor. Yes. That's how deep I'm in on this shit, bro. I don't have a lot of furniture in my house, but I have a lot of totes full of fucking action figures. I'll tell you that for free.
You can sit on those too if you really want to.
Good shit. You really wanted to. It wouldn't be the most comfortable, but I warn everybody before they come over. It's like it's not a lot of places to sit, but you're gonna have a great view of my toy shelves. That's always but you gotta have priorities in this life, right?
Well, there it is, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, wonderful episode full of insight, fun, laughs. Rikki Roxx,
my brother.
Go out, check him out. Get on his YouTube. If you're an action figure fan, a lot of our fucking followers are fans of collecting figures and stuff. Please check
That's
out
what I
his
like to
reviews
hear.
on YouTube as well.
I
And he was recommended by our friend, the leader of the revolution, Mike Payton.
Oh
He's
boy.
a scammer, but I do like the cut of his jib. I gotta say, I do kind of like the cut of his jib.
You know what's the best thing he does? I'm sorry, before we sign off real quick. He takes off the sunglasses to reveal that he has glasses on under it.
It's really good.
It is the best heel move
It's good.
of the new millennium.
It's the equivalent of pulling a mask off and having a mask underneath
Yeah,
the
it's
mask.
fucking
so
awesome.
good. It's really
It's the
good.
little things.
It's
Those little things.
It is.
Stuff. He gets it.
But once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in with our friend Rikki Roxx.
Yep.
We will have him back.
Part
Maybe
2.
another interview, maybe a lit match.
Little watch along will be fun.
A lot of
Already
things
looking
coming up.
Guys, thanks
again.
so much for
No
And by the way,
problem.
guys, if you're in the Englishtown, Cranberry, New Jersey area, you should be spending your weekends at Englishtown Flea Market going to Funkenstein Wrestling Superstore. I don't have the date yet, but I am going to be doing an appearance there this summer. Check my socials for that. But
Sure.
bottom line, if you're not buying your wrestling figures from Funkenstein, you're simply an asshole. Got to go there. Check them out. They got a Bay page as well. So they've been
Check
great to
that
me. I
shit
got
out,
a lot
for
of my
sure.
shit there. So I always take care of those who take care of me. Check them out and check out my socials when I'm going to be there. Guys, thanks so much for having me. Brothers of Discussion podcast. Gotta love it, brother. Thank you so much. We're going to catch up real soon. I'm already looking forward to that one, baby.
Yes, sir.